Joining us on the webinar is Jason Diamore, head men's golf coach at Loyola Marymount University in Los Angeles. Jason is homegrown, following his stellar play as a member of the LMU men's golf team from 2005 to 2008. Jason was inducted in the 2015 LMU Athletics Hall of Fame. He returned to his alma mater in 2016 to lead the Lions men's golf program. Jason, thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing great. Pleasure to be with you, John. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Winning was a habit for you as a player, and you've installed that culture into your team. 3 tournament wins and 3 individual wins for your players in 2024. Now in your 9th year as a head coach, please share what the journey as a college coach has been like for you.
Yeah, it sure has been a journey. It's been pretty darn fun though. I pinch myself to think that coaching college golf is still my job, but very fortunate to be able to do what I do. And it really started with a passion of being able to come back and kind of revive a program that I played for in a university that gave me a lot. So really fortunate to have the opportunity. As I came back, it really kind of started with trying to chase some pretty highly ranked players. And I was successful to a certain extent and got some pretty good names. And I've kind of evolved into, as we'll talk about a little bit more tonight, recruiting players who just communicate really well. They've got a really deep desire to be great. And they're just mature for their age. We always like to say recruiting, we're kind of looking for those 16, 17, 18-year-olds going on 40. They got that really mature mindset and they've got their priorities in order. So we're fortunate enough in LA that we play a lot of private clubs around the area. And that's, a lot of the golf in the LA basin is some pretty good private golf. And so they got to be mature and being able to carry themselves well and converse with members and such. But it's a incredible opportunity to, transform some junior golfers into elite amateurs by the time they graduate, into great young men that are going to go out into the world and do some great stuff. So been an incredible journey, definitely not over yet. I know it's 9 years in, but I feel like I'm just getting started and learning so much every day. So very grateful to do what I do. We've used a lot of different stats platforms over the years. And the thing about Clip that's kind of had us really diving in deeper and sticking with it is that it's got something different and engaging, from something just as simple as the guys entering their stats, and it's a more fun process. There's more colors involved. There's more insights. They have fun little things that show you the top 3 shots you hit of a round and what that shot quality is, and then maybe even the bottom 3. Then you get a nice little giggle out of some shot you hit that wasn't very good, and you see a number that's not so great. But I think really at the end of the day, the thing that's neat for us is the guys get an opportunity to compare themselves to each other, and they also get an opportunity to compare themselves to whatever barometer they choose, right? So Clip will let us use the PGA Tour as an average. They'll let us use elite college golf as an average, maybe top 25 teams in college golf and what their shot quality and player qualities look like. And then we may have some players that are developing at a different rate and maybe they want to be held to a different level, but it kind of gives them that opportunity to customize it on their own. And as far as the shot quality is concerned, the other piece that blew me away was just a platform where when you start the round, you give them feedback. How long was the rough? How quick were the greens? How firm were the greens? What was the weather like, and the temperature and the wind and rain? So if someone's, sitting in 2.5, 3-inch rough from 187 and it's blowing 25 miles an hour, hitting that shot to 5 feet might be a little bit better than playing in the desert in a dome from 187 with no elements, that are too difficult. So it's really kind of given us an ability to look at it from a different perspective than we have other platforms. It's provided a really neat insight to look at trends, I think, more than anything. I know we're going to kind of take a look at the 4 bigger categories you can look at in your stats. But the first thing we'll do is look at a number for sure. If there's a certain part of someone's game, like say their approach play or around the green or putting, that has a number that's maybe below where we'd like to see it or the player would like to see it, we know there's a piece there we can address, and having those shot qualities or in certain areas, above 100, if we see that someone's starting to slip in a certain area, Clip will, color code that red for us to know that there's a serious trend kind of going down in that part of the player's game. So the trend piece has been nice because it allows us to dive in a little bit deeper. And from there, we kind of have some recommended practices we can go through. We have different types of drills and games and things that make it fun and engaging for the players. So it's really done a great job, I think, of bringing to the forefront and bringing our attention to where the players' games need to be worked on. And that's something I've really enjoyed about Clipped, is they really show you not only the places you can improve, but kind of help you build some confidence in telling you what you're really good at and how that's important to your scoring.
So the what to work on feature of Clipped has been just, I think, probably the most widely embraced part of the platform, the technology itself. Your players have to balance their life as a student with the time needed to be a successful college golfer. Tell us about how you help them achieve that required balance.
Yeah, that's paramount, right? And that's an 18 to 22-year-old and working on time management and balancing life and social life and golf and academics. It's a tall task for sure. So really what we do with our guys to start out every semester, each player comes in the office and we go up on the whiteboard and we write down Sunday through Saturday. We put in all the required stuff they got to do for the week. We'll have their class times in there. We'll have our practices, and then we'll have any sort of study halls or some travel stuff in there so they're aware. And then we carve out these blocks of time throughout the week where they have an opportunity to do whatever it is they need to do. And some days that looks like practicing more. Some days that looks like doing their own laundry, but really just trying to make them understand how important the time management is. The clip piece about that's really nice, and what you've highlighted here with the what to work on, is that it really gives them the ability to be efficient with their practice. It's letting them know the areas of their game that are good and that are important to their scoring, and they need to continue to keep it a strength. And then some other parts of their game that maybe are some quick wins, or that Clip recommends you worked on because things are trending down and maybe you tend to hit that type of shot a lot during the tournament round. So really the best players I've had, and a player we just had graduate last year was probably the best I've ever seen at that. I mean, he knew within 30 minutes on a weekly basis where he was going to be and what he was going to be doing, and had it all planned out. So, sometimes that's a skill we develop a little bit later in life, but it's important for us to start working on it right away when they get to school.
With all of this helpful direction from Clip to create purposeful practice and make their time more efficient, do you see an ongoing result of that being that having that information and that support is building confidence in your players?
Yeah, without a doubt. I'd kind of mentioned that before. I think the confidence from it is having the quick wins, or knowing what to work on and focusing on that, and then seeing those stats improve, seeing your score improve, is definitely building confidence. It's also building trust into, the product and the different types of things that are in there to help you improve. But like I mentioned before, I just love the fact that Clipped really highlights what got you to this point. We're talking about elite amateur golfers, and you got to be doing something right to get here. And so really teaching those guys what they're doing well, how to continue to make it something that you're really good at, building some confidence behind it. I mean, we've all seen a golfer, stepping on the first tee of a tournament that is mentally fragile, and we know how that round of golf's going to go. So giving them an opportunity to feel good about themselves, knowing whether it's off the tee or it's once they get around the greens or their iron play, whatever it may be, that it's something they're looking forward to. They're really excited about it. And then the other areas of their game, they know they've been putting in the work in the right areas, because it's kind of broken that down for them, giving them some fun, engaging, recommended things they can do to improve a little bit quicker.
You've mentioned how this has helped your players find and hone their strengths, bolster their strengths, but also dedicate time to their weaknesses. Have there been some examples that you can share when one of your players learned from their Clipped account the need to put in more work on a specific part of the game and those results?
I mean, to be honest, it happens monthly with us. Without a doubt, there's always a light bulb going off for somebody. Specifically, I'd say Riley Lewis on our team, who just graduated last year, probably the most decorated player we've had and an All-American. He loved Clip. I mean, he would be, no joke, he would be entering his stats after a tournament round on the way back to a hotel on a 36-hole day. And afterwards, he'd be yelling out to guys in the van, "Oh, I got 189 shot quality on this," or "God, I hit this iron shot really poor and only got 17. He was, that was what the platform did. It really engaged him, and he was very curious, which I think is another great quality of, some of the best players. It's, you have your good days, you have your bad days, but you want to continue to learn and be curious about why those things occur. So, for Riley in particular, he was a really good putter, had great tempo, sweet swinging guy, but he dove in and really found out that his approach play was something that he needed to improve. And from there, he clicked into the approach tab and was able to see he had a particular type of miss. When he was playing really well, he was the guy that cut it. And if he was shooting low scores, he was actually overcutting it and missing it right. And when he wasn't playing great and he was trying to play his cut, the ball didn't move right. And the ball would go straight. So it was something that to that depth and that level with Clip was really neat, that it didn't only highlight a certain part of his game, but he could dive in and figure out whether it was decision making or certain types of shots he was choosing that really made a big impact on his scoring. I would say that the thing that's been so neat about it is it's the hardest thing to do is to get an 18 to 22-year-old to enter their stats. And especially after, an 18 hole or 36 hole day, having the mental capacity to remember the shots and go back, and some are better at entering it than others, but the clip capture piece has been really easy. Of the platforms we've used for stats, it's by far been the best as far as just its overall functionality and not crashing when guys are trying to enter things or having to re-enter. I think I'd mentioned before, it's very engaging in the way that you go about entering your stats, the different feedback that it gets you, the different just information it wants to know about where you missed putts and where you missed approach shots or how far you had in, and the way it just kind of flows has been the easiest by far. And I think if you were to go around to a college golf tournament and ask coaches what they struggle with the most on their team with guys, without a doubt, putting in their stats is in the top three. So really to make that whole process easier, and then from there, that makes our process of learning and getting better easier. It's kind of a no-brainer. And our guys, they've got 24 hours to enter their stats, otherwise they're running. So they want something that's easy, because if they've only got that much time, they don't want to take up a bunch of it. I mean, we've been using Clips for a few years now, and if it's not something that feels like a drag and it's something they enjoy doing, I think we're all drawn to those sort of things in life, right? It's the pain versus pleasure. And I think for them, it's fun to see where they're improving or different places that they can work on, and just getting that feedback. Everyone that we're recruiting really wants to be as good as they can, and they've embraced that culture and feeding it amongst each other. So when they have this sort of engagement and something, to your point, 7 to 10 minutes probably on average to get their stats in, it doesn't take too long. And you have guys on the team that have been using it for a few years, and they've got good stories to tell about the platform and what they've gotten from it and ways they've improved. So it's pretty quick.
How does the ability for a prospect to share their data impact early in your recruiting process?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, we were just, I'd mentioned to you, I was at a camp last week, and there was a parent that said, my son sends a lot of emails to college coaches and sometimes isn't able to get a reply back as quickly as they'd like. And a few of us spoke up and said, in an average week, we probably get somewhere between 50 to 75 emails from kids that want to play college golf at our schools. And so you've got to find a way to stand out. You have to find a way to separate yourself. And if you're willing to take the time to do your stats and share your data, that's another level of commitment that we're not going to see from everybody. So it's a great opportunity to make yourself stand out that way. And also, we only get so many days that we're allowed to come watch you play. We only get so many times we're allowed to watch you or get to meet you in person and get to know your family and call references. So the more information we can get, the better. And if we've got to go around and chase that information, it just makes it that much harder. But when it's given to us up front, and we have an idea that that's something that's important to you because you're trying to improve and get as good as you can, that kind of gives us a different level of understanding where your commitment level is and how good you want to be. So it's very important. I would say 90% of juniors don't share that information with college coaches. So if you're looking for a really quick, easy way to separate yourself and be in the 10%, that's a pretty easy component to adopt. I mean, if you're someone who has the ability to keep your data organized and you're willing to do your stats and you're sharing that in the emails with us and whatnot, that gives us a really good indication of what life's going to be like with you when you get here. We're only allowed to have 20 hours of practice a week with our guys, and golf in general takes a lot longer than what they allow us. So we're spending 4 years with you and a lot of hours a week. And so getting a good idea of who you are up front and knowing that you're prepared and you're mature and you're thinking about your future, you're really trying to go in depth and how you can improve. Like I said, once again, you're really separating yourself. So that's a big thing of our time management. If you come to school and we got to spend 3 to 4 months helping you adjust, that's 1/8 of your college career versus someone else who comes in the door and is ready to go right away.
Clipped has partnerships with Arcos and Garmin. They're able to move data from TrackMan. I know your team uses launch monitors, and they're able to move their data from their TrackMan combines into their Clipped account, correct?
Yeah, that's been one of the really neat things you mentioned with the TrackMan piece too, is no matter where our guys are around the country, or they're working, with their PGA professional like yourself, and they're able to invite their PGA professionals or swing coaches to the platform, it really becomes, kind of the quarterback hub of their entire game. And whether it's uploading swing videos on the course, or it's the combine info, or whatever it could be, it's really putting it all in one place. So it makes it that much easier to manage your game.
Jason, I can't thank you again enough for joining us this evening and sharing your insights and your amazing skills. Thanks for being with us tonight. And if you've got any parting thoughts quickly for our audience, please share them.
No, I appreciate those kind words. Like I said, I still pinch myself daily. This is a profession or a job that I get to have. But, the thing I would just say about Clipped is the two things we didn't really talk about, and I think is really important, especially when you're getting into technology and you're getting into this type of platform. Probably the thing that's impressed me the most with Clip has been the relationships they've created and their customer service, their ability to take care of people using the platform, answer questions you have, provide webinars like this. They're trying to educate, which I think is really important. There's a lot of stats platforms out there that just have a bunch of techie people behind the scenes, but they've got real people. They've got people that are dedicated to certain areas and regions and types of players, and they've just done a really, really good job of making sure that everyone's in the know about how to use this fantastic product. So for us, it's kind of a no-brainer. It doesn't only provide us the feedback we need to get better, but it also makes it fun for the guys. So I don't know why we wouldn't be on board with that.